After the previous chapter took us away from our main heroes for a while to show us what happened to Dr. Pershing and other former Imperial personnel under the rule of the New Republic, will the next episode focus on Din and Grogu again? Hi there, it's Micha, and spoiler alert, with chapter 20 being titled The Foundling, it is more than likely that episode will center around Grogu. To find out more, join me for this review video. The episode starts at the Mandalorian settlement the trio reached at the end of the previous chapter, where everyone is engaged in combat training while Grogu is playing in the sand on the shore of the ocean, where some of his stones are moving around him. While we at first think that he is moving them with his mind, we see that, to his delight, the stones are in fact little hermit crabs moving around. Din then picks him up, telling him that it is now time to learn with the other foundlings. We learn that foundlings become apprentices along the way and eventually end up being full Mandalorians, and that they only have to wear the helmet once they have recited the creed. Something you have to be old enough for and be able to speak, so Grogu is exempted for now. To start things off, Din is putting Grogu up for a training fight against another foundling, which happens to be the one who recited the creed at the start of a season, namely Ragnar Vizsla, the son of Paz Vizsla, with Paz being the Mandalorian who previously challenged Din to a fight so he would return the Darksaber to his clan, as one of his ancestors created the weapon. Everyone says Grogu is too small to fight, but Mando insists, having complete confidence in the child. The challenge is fought with a practice dart bracelet that shoots paintballs. Each fighter has 3 shots and the highest score wins. After being hit twice, Din tells Grogu that he doesn't have to hide his talents and can show what he got. So at the next attempt, he evades the paintball with a quick jump, and jumping back, he shoots the surprised boy 3 times.
Begin!
Winning the competition. Seconds later, Ragnar is snatched by a dragon-like creature, a Shriek-hawk, and carried away. Din is told not to shoot at it, or it will kill the kid instantly. So a group of Mandalorians with jetpacks start their pursuit to follow the winged beast to its lair. But one by one they run out of fuel. Apparently it was not the first time a foundling was taken, because Paz commented that it always gets away. With that knowledge, maybe someone should have suggested using a ship to follow it, which fortunately Bo-Katan did on her own volition. Returning to the group with the beast's coordinates, which happens to be on the top of a high mountain, they muster a hunting party to go after it. Meanwhile, Grogu stays with the armorer, who teaches the child about Mandalorian culture while forging a new piece of armor for him, a rondelle. During the process, the armorer uses a compactor, which clanging sounds trigger a memory in Grogu. He remembers the day that Order 66 was carried out. He was then even smaller and was kept with the other younglings in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. After several Padawans around him were killed, he ended up in the care of Jedi Master Caloran Beck, who took Grogu to safety, or at least away from Coruscant, as the flashback ended there. In the meantime, the rescue team made it to the mountain, but it was getting dark as they had to walk a large portion of the way to not alarm the Shriek-hawk, so they make camp for the night and eat. As leader of the party, Bo-Katan was given the honor of eating by the fire, as everyone eats alone because they have to remove their helmets to do so. The next morning they climbed the mountain by just using their grappling hooks. At the top they found the nest empty, but Din notices a heat source hidden under the surface, which makes Paz rush in, assuming this to be his son Ragnar. However, it turned out to be the chicks of the winged predator, who immediately started to snap and shriek at Paz, which alarmed their mother, who appears seconds later. She then regurgitates the still alive boy and tries to feed him to the younglings. Paz then attacks the beast, which grabs the boy again with its talon and snatches the father with its beak, and flies away with the rest of the team in pursuit. While Bo-Katan does the bulk of the work to release Paz, Din Djarin manages to free the boy and rescues him from falling to his death. The team together then succeed to incapacitate the mother, who falls into the ocean, where she is devoured by one of these giant alligator monsters we met in chapter 17. Paz is then thanking Din wholeheartedly for rescuing his son, which, going forward, will likely smooth over the rift that existed between them. They then return to the settlement, where they disembark from the ship, being greeted by cheer, and also revealed to have brought back the 3 Shriekhawk chicks, as they, losing their mother, are now also foundlings in need of their help. The chapter ends with Bo-Katan being told by the armorer that she has done the highest honor of the creed, saving a foundling. So to honor her, the armorer offers to replace the pauldron that got lost from Bo's armor during the fight. When asked if she wants to have the same Night Owl signet on it as she has on her other shoulder, Bo asks if she can have the mythosaur as a symbol, which the armorer says can be worn by every Mandalorian as it belongs to all of them. Opening up to the armorer about seeing a mythosaur, she at first understood it to be a vision or dream, before understanding that she means a real one. With the armorer, unfazed and with no indication if she believes it or not, just commenting that if you walk the way of the Mandalore, you will see many things. And ending the conversation as well as the episode by saying,
"This is the way."
I am nonplussed right now how long the synopsis became, because I was sure this one could be captured quite quickly. However, even if there was a lot of action and the chapter was just 31 minutes long, there was a lot of stuff we learned that was worth mentioning, as you will have noticed. Let's see if that will mean I can keep the review part shorter, as I will not repeat all we have learned, just elaborate on some of it. Let's start by saying the title again was ambiguous, as the foundling could refer to Ragnar, the child that was rescued, or Grogu. Likely both. But let's stay with Grogu and look at his vision. It was a nice touch to show us more about his past. We already knew he was over 50 years old, so being at the Jedi Temple when Order 66 was carried out seemed likely, and now we know. It still interests me though what happened in the meantime. Was he handed around, or was he in stasis? If he was awake for those years, how come he can't talk and still seems to be a baby? Would he have been kept for decades in the temple just for protection, with the training only starting when he was old enough? Is he so young that memories were not consciously accessible, like with humans and their first few years around? Or did he forget things due to a trauma? Were his memories erased, maybe by a mind flayer like Pershing was facing in the previous episode? Or does he remember all and we are just not shown? Hopefully we will find out more along the way. Quick side note. Jedi Master Caloran Beg was played by Ahmed Best, the actor unfortunate enough to have performed one of the most hated characters in Star Wars history, Jar Jar Binks. Fortunately, he was allowed to redeem that by voicing several other characters in the animated series. He also had a live-action cameo as a young Jedi named Ahmed Beg in Attack of the Clones, a character likely being related to Caloran Beg, who was originally created in 2019 as the host for a game show on YouTube named Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge, where he was also portrayed by Best. That Jedi character, primarily choosing the task of teaching others, was now brought into canon by this episode. Funny the things the creators of the show are pulling off to create Easter eggs. Apparently the Shriekhawk was also referenced in books and comics, but has his first appearance here. If it actually was a Shriekhawk, I deduced that from the dialogue line, "Join the Shriekhawk training team," which could also be just their name, as Paz Vizsla's clan is using the Shriekhawk signet, which happens to look very much like the creature, so I think it's a fair assumption. The episode was highly entertaining, action-orientated and informative, but quite nonsensical in some key regards. While it was nice to see that the Mandalorians, though being a society of hardened warriors, are very protective and loving of their foundlings, it was strange to see that they had no preparations made in case another kid was snatched by one of the winged beasts. They knew they couldn't get to it with their jetpacks, so why not have a ship ready and used like Bo-Katan coincidentally did? And why not look for a planet less dangerous, if they just let their kids wander around? Several children killed by the Shriekhawk, the ocean in front of their cave still can be visited every moment by another alligator creature, like in the season opener. So what gives? And how could it be that they know that disturbing the beast would make it kill the kid? Shooting at it apparently has shown that you shouldn't use blasters right away, but to know that disturbing it would trigger that suggests that they have tried to rescue the kid from the nest before, but they didn't know where the nest was, so how? It also made little sense that the beast swallowed the child and it was alive almost a whole day later, when it was regurgitated. If it wasn't swallowed the day before, why even swallow it at all and not just feed it to the chicks? Usually regurgitation is used to dissolve the prey before feeding it to the younglings, so again, how was he alive and not liquefied? It was good that the kid survived, but it just didn't make much sense. Also, did the mother not see the Mandalorians in the nest or just ignored them? She appeared after they started to shriek, but the group didn't hide. Only Pez tried to, quite poorly. It made no sense to start feeding with them there. And if she didn't see them, why start feeding at that moment? And not the day before when she snatched Ragnar? Again, the script here was a bit weak. The plus side holds a lot of explanations, like finally having the answer that they are allowed to take off the helmet when they are alone. Something that was suggested, but as far as I remember, never clearly stated. So I can stop assuming that they stink like beasts underneath it all. It begs the question though, how they know it is safe to return to the others after eating. Is there a specific time that they agree on to reconvene? What would happen if someone is still eating when someone else barges in? Would that count as a transgression, even if not voluntary? Again, hope to find out more in the future. It also begs the question why they never showed us Mando without the helmet when he was alone. Would have been nice for Pedro Pascal to be able to do that. Maybe they retconned it to allow for that in the future. We will see. Also, learning that Grogu would need a helmet when he can recite the creed tells me that either he will never be able to, or that by then Mando and the child have abandoned the way of a Mandalore and the helmet altogether, because there is no way in hell that Disney would slap a helmet over their moneymaker's face. As a last call out, it was a fun idea to see that the chicks are now foundlings and they take them in, though logically it doesn't make any sense. How are they supposed to make them part of their clan if they can't even communicate with them? Should there not be a difference between so-called sentient beings and beasts? If not, shouldn't they take in every creature's younglings if they kill one's parents to eat it? Or every young animal they find? Again, nice gag, but also not really believable. I could see that changed later though, by them just making sure they survive and then releasing them back into the wild, where they then can start to hunt down their foundlings again. So it also somehow appears half-assed. Okay, now, I see that the review part also wasn't much shorter than usual. Sorry about that. However, before we are going to the rating, let me ask you to like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you are not a subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. Now for the rating. Okay, here I will try to keep it short though. I liked the episode and as long as I don't apply logic here, it holds up nicely. While my gut wants to score it high, my brain stops me from it, demanding to pay tribute to the inconsistencies, which I will try to do. Technical merits were strong again, especially regarding the action sequences, which contained some nice fight and flight effects in Grogu's flashback, as well as some creature effects in the main plotline. In a nutshell, the episode was fun and answered some questions, while it raised many more that will hopefully be answered along the way. However, it was all wrapped around a rescue plot that at its core was far from believable, for the many reasons I listed. I'm rating it with 7 out of 10 points, as it was good but definitely had room for improvement, plot-wise. Good thing though that only the plot for this single episode was subpar, so that it didn't undermine or poison the overall story arc, so we can continue to look forward to things to come. What about you? Were you taken aback by the somehow unbelievable plotline, or did that not bother you at all? Do you think Grogu will start to speak soon, after his attempts in the previous chapter? And would you think they put a helmet over his cute face? What are your theories about future episodes? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. Each fighter has 3 shots. The team together then succeed to incapacitate the mother, who falls into the ocean.